This year, August 20, 2021, the Society of St. Paul, founded by Blessed James Alberione, is already 107 years old. And here in the Philippines, it counts 86 years and 34 years in Macau. Since 1935, we have grown into a formidable force of 83 perpetual and temporary professed members located in 9 communities in the Philippines and Macau, and 14 members in foreign missions. So the question is, how did the Paulines reach our shores? In the midsummer of 1935, 3 Pauline priests, Fathers Gaetano Marco Grossi, Mateo Bernardo Borgoño, and Ercole Clemente Canavero, departed from the port of Genoa for the Orient. The first 2 were bound for Manila, while Father Canavero was to disembark in Shanghai to join the 2 other priests already in China. On July 7, 1935, Fathers Grossi and Borgoño arrived in Manila, marking the beginning of the SSP presence in the Philippines. Monsignor William Piani, the Apostolic Delegate to Manila, and who had personally asked Primo Maestro for a Pauline presence in the country, invited the pioneers to stay temporarily at the Apostolic Delegation, later Annunciatur, along the Taft Avenue, Manila. As the priests found it hard to open a house in Manila, they traveled southward to Lipa in Batangas. They were warmly welcomed by Monsignor Alfredo Versosa, the Bishop of Lipa, who even loaned them a house which would become their residence. In a part of the house, a small printing press was set up. They also opened a bookstore which contributed a lot to make them known. The following year, 2 more Paulines, Father Isidoro Selvio and Brother Gregorio Giudiolori, arrived from Italy to help in the apostolate of the printed word. The Paulines had purchased second-hand printing machines. Because of the communist cultural revolution in China, the Italian missionaries had to leave the country. First, Fathers Clemente Canavero and Pio Bertino transferred to the Philippines. Meanwhile, in 1939, Father Jerome Casolari arrived from Rome, augmenting further the presence of the missionaries. Then local vocations started to come. The Paulines were greatly encouraged by the advent of young aspirants. 6 years after their arrival, and through the intercession of the Apostolic Delegate, the Archbishop of Manila, Michael O. Duherte, granted permission to the Paulines to transfer to Manila on the condition that they take part or they take care of a parish. Father Borgoño searched for a place, finally settling on a lot along F.B. Harrison Street in Pasay. It was purchased and a temporary chapel was constructed there. Thus was born the Our Lady of Sorrows Parish, which is now a community with Pauline color, a haven for FWs, and a center for media and biblical studies. Our apostolic presence in the Philippines has evolved through the years from being printer into multimedia publisher, while remaining faithful to the vision of our founder, Blessed James Alberione, to promote the gospel through the fastest means of communication. After we have closed the printing press in 2004, we expanded our religious stores, bookstores, which we Paulines consider as our churches and places of encounter with the people. But with the sudden scourge of COVID-19, face-to-face interactions are restricted, thus making our physical stores ineffective. Adjusting to the new challenges brought about by the pandemic, we boosted our online capabilities through our online bookstore, stpauls.ph, and increased our digital presence through various social media programs, namely the Sambuhay TV Mass, which has more than 100,000 subscribers worldwide. Its live streams daily and Sunday Masses. The Sambuhay Interactive every Monday and Wednesday, 9 p.m. The podcast, which is available in Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast. Dear Pablito, every Friday, 9 p.m. Fake or Faith, every Saturday, 10 a.m., which is featured in the official FB page of St. Paul National Bible Quiz and many other digital initiatives. With the pandemic backdrop, we now face the daunting task of being consecrated apostle communicators at the onset of a fifth-generation digital revolution. But in keeping with the motto of the SSP 10th General Chapter, which is derived from 1 Corinthians 9:23, we courageously pressed on because we do all for the gospel. Ito po ang Gabay Sambuhay patungkol sa Foundation Anniversary ng Society of St. Paul. At ako po si Father Chris Robert Cilian, doing all for the gospel.